Focus on fixing the basics first. I always think of Vince Lombardi, who, when he took over the Green Bay Packers, he didn't come in and build lots of complex plays. What he did is he came in and said, we're going to learn how to tackle today, boys. We're going to learn how to perform the basic functions and make sure those are right first before we add the complexity in.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Rob Whitlow, the founder and CEO of Quadrants OS. At RevGenAI, we focus on how B2B leaders are generating revenue through adoption of AI, more thought leadership, and ultimately how they're building scalable and practical go-to-market systems. Rob is an author and operator, and he's built sales inside of a $200 million plus company while leading more than 2,000 people. And now he's applying the same lessons and systems into Quadrants OS and the newly launched Quadrants AI Studio. Rob, it's great to have you.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting.
Of course. So just start us off for anyone who doesn't really get what you do. Like, what is Quadrants, and what do you do as far as the solution that you're bringing, and who do you serve, and really what shaped the building of this company?
So after a year and a half of struggling in the company that I built to 200 million, I finally figured out that a business is just basically a conveyor belt from start to finish. And the goal is to have the right input to get the right outcomes. And so I developed over time a way to drive efficiency within all four quadrants of a business, which is to attract people, to convert the people you attract, to deliver on what you've promised, and then to enable the entire team to do that and drive efficiencies in all the other three quadrants.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's an insight that you don't really get until you're leading a company from the top down, seeing that all businesses kind of have the same fundamentals of you need to attract clients, you need to sell those services, and then you need to deliver and then make everything more efficient. When you were heading up that $200 million company, what experiences did you take away about where companies kind of like have their eye off the ball or have shortcomings, and like what lessons do you think were helpful and are now shaping your current company?
Sure. It was actually a friend of mine who helped me to see that when you're too close to the action, there's like a blindness that hits you, and that blindness is all your successes. Like you tend to want to focus on what am I doing right, not always looking at where am I weakest and how can I improve that area to improve the overall operation.
Mm. And why do you think that is?
I think it's human nature. It's always more difficult to be willing to take criticism about where something isn't working rather than being willing to just been in that mode of, I've got this figured out. I don't need anybody else's help. I'm doing well. We're making sales. So I don't need to figure out how to grow because I've already figured out how to make more. And then what happens is you plateau. Mm-hmm. And then when you do, breaking through that plateau or actual regression happens. And most of the time it's regression. You take 2 or 3 steps back because you're too close to the action. You're not taking the inventory to go, maybe I don't have every part of this figured out.
I think that's really true. I'm curious, how do you balance your expertise that you're relying on when it comes to introducing your solutions to the marketplace versus this idea of always be learning and growing?
It only comes through evaluation. That's what I learned is you have to know your KPIs for one. And when I say KPIs, KPIs out of every area of the company. Most people focus only on KPIs related directly to revenue, and they don't focus on internal KPIs of delivery, true customer satisfaction, what the follow-on experience looks like, making sure the entire assembly line is being evaluated all the time, finding the weakest area, and then finding ways to improve that through evaluation of, gosh, are we doing this the best we could do it? And are we doing it the most efficient way we could do it? And driving efficiency is absolutely the key.
Hmm. I think something that you just highlighted there, which is oftentimes 80% of the work, is first and foremost gathering your KPIs, your metrics, to be
Mhm.
able to first and foremost identify where the bottleneck is. If you're thinking about it like a conveyor belt, there's only one constraint or one bottleneck at a time. And so being able to know where that is that's the hard part. And once you do, solving it becomes a little bit easier, right?
I would say from a CEO's perspective, I think admitting where it is a bigger problem because we don't want to admit that there may be some blind spots that we have. It's in our most CEOs, I'm not saying all, but most have a blind spot of I don't want to admit that the way we've been doing it maybe isn't good enough, that there isn't some areas that we could improve or review. So I think that's the first thing. If you're going to fix a problem, you have to admit there is a problem.
Hmm. Hmm. So talk to me a little bit more about Four Quadrants OS and the AI Studio. Like, how does what we're talking about identifying where the constraint is on the whole of the business actually work in practice?
So in practice, that is the first step is you have to go through an evaluation process and look at every single area of the business. Like I said, that most people I meet, the first hand they raise is I need leads. I need more deals. And then I look in their database and I find tons of contacts and deals that have just been lost or dead. I'm like, what about the low hanging fruit that's already sitting there? Have we evaluated that? Like where is the breakdown there? So you just begin to evaluate every a single section of the company through the leaders that are over those parts of the company and find out where where the biggest pain point is actually causing the breakdown to happen, because it may not be more leads you need. It may be you need to deliver your services better and get more referrals.
Hmm. That's what I find is oftentimes like the first thought that you have is not necessarily the right solution, because if it was, then you would have solved it already.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and being able to dig a level deeper to really figure out what actually is broken. I know that that's extremely important. Again, that comes down to figuring out through experience what the actual problem is and solving the right problem. You told me for for your own pipeline that you're working right now on building a more predictable engine. Um, as far as like for your own business, what parts of your own pipeline engine are working best today, and like what actually still needs to be built out to make this repeatable?
Yeah, this goes back to your earlier conversation about AI and how everybody wants to go after leads. What AI can't do is create the human relationships that generate business for you, especially early on. If you're a startup or you're starting to try to scale, building those human relationships and finding referral funnels are extremely important, and AI is not going to do that for you. It might help you craft the message to the referral person that you're trying to talk to, but it's still human beings that are going to talk to other human beings and say, you should go talk to so and so, that's going to help you to fill a part of that. Now, down the line, yes, you can scale with AI. You can make sure you're not missing leads, make sure you have 24/7 touchability, because 78% of people are going to work with the person that they contact first. So if they have to wait on a contact form from you or they can't get answers from you immediately, chances are you've already lost the deal. But I see it as a referral based component, a humanistic component that always has to be there to ensure you're getting the highest quality of prospects coming into your funnel.
Hmm. And so where do you think people are kind of going wrong with how they're approaching AI as it applies to go to market? And what do you think is the right approach for where you use the tool versus where humans are still kind of like actually still better at what they do?
Sure. I think the problem that we have right now in business is overload. And I'm going to date myself a little bit about how old I am right now, but um, many viewers may not remember the whole Betamax and VHS war that was out there. Um, they don't remember maybe the search wars before, there was Google and Alta Vista and Yahoo and all these different searches, but we don't say search anymore, right? We say, I should Google that. That's because a winner finally came to the head and everybody knew what to do then. In AI right now, we are in this overload of everybody getting lambasted with, oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. And it just paralyzes people because they don't know exactly what to do. And I think part of a job like mine is to simplify that for them and just tell them after a proper evaluation exactly what they do and don't need, and don't get overwhelmed with 5 different LLMs and trying 70 different things. Let's get focused and find ways that it can actually benefit the company. And that's the problem right now. It's just too much overload.
Yeah, I can personally relate to that. It's completely changing the way work is getting done, but it's really easy. It's even easier, I would say, to get distracted because of the capabilities of the tool. It can be applied to everything as opposed to what again is the main problem that we're solving. What is the bottleneck in this conveyor belt, and
Mm-hmm.
apply it to that. So I see why you approach things at first and foremost starting there. Um, let's talk about your own growth because that's also very interesting to me. You said that you're focused on developing your messaging, figuring out how to use AI to assist with outreach and follow up and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
partnerships, and making the whole entire system reliable. But which one would you say is the biggest bottleneck for you at your growth stage right now?
Anytime you're introducing a new platform, like a full operating system, think EOS, if you've heard of EOS, or think of any major platform or system that has been out there for companies to use. It is a long haul to get your face in front of people. And it's even harder in today's climate because we've got stuff coming at us all the time. So cutting through the noise, picking a specific vertical, picking a specific and pinpointing a specific place that you want to start. I think that's where we're at, in terms of making sure we serve the right market and the market understands who we are, from a relational basis, not just throwing the spider web out there and hoping we catch anything.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it, it, it makes sense as far as like the process is first you need to make a hypothesis of what will work best, test it, see if it's actually successful before you scale it up,
Mm-hmm.
and and also being able to be resourceful. I know that's the- one of the most important things in business, is being able to make more from what limited resources you have. I'm
Yep.
curious how things changed for you in that regard, having come from an experience where you're part of a company that's doing hundreds of millions versus what you're doing right now with growing four quadrants.
Well, it's exciting because anytime you're able to start something brand new and get the word out on and help other people be successful, all of this platform that I built was for my own success before. And now being able to share that with the marketplace and be able to see it be applied in other companies and watch them scale and grow, that's going to be the joy of this particular part of my journey, because it's going to be neat to see it applied with others and watch them have that aha moment of, oh, wow. Like for instance, there was one company I helped recently, and it was something very simple. It was this whole commissions thing in their company was absolutely causing all this angst with their salespeople. The salespeople were tired of trying to manually track everything, and the finance department was sick of paying wrong commissions and just everything being mismatched. It was a complete mess, of a manual mess. And we went in and built something in HubSpot for them that solved that problem and made it an app. It turned hours and hours and hours and hours of work into a 5-minute solve. That's the kind of thing that just brings me joy to see that kind of efficiency happen in a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it only comes from really digging deeper into like what's the actual problem. There can be an elegant fix to it, but first digging through like, okay, what's actually underneath the surface to find that. I know that was the harder part.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I see your book behind you. You clearly have a lot of experience. If you were to sit and give another B2B leader some practical advice for how to navigate the current landscape that we're in with AI and then things just changing so rapidly, what would be some of the most practical advice that you could give them on like what really matters and what they should focus on?
Focus on fixing the basics first. I always think of Vince Lombardi, who, when he took over the Green Bay Packers, he didn't come in and build lots of complex plays. What he did is he came in and said, we're going to learn how to tackle today, boys. We're going to learn how to perform the basic functions and make sure those are right first before we add the complexity in. And so I think that's the advice I would give is, let's figure out if the fundamentals are sound. And if they are, then we can start to layer in some more complexity. But as a business owner, you've got to make sure you're not chasing all the eye candy all the time, throwing new software at your people, throwing new ideas at your people constantly. It's a mistake I made in my business, because it's just, as a CEO, as a type, you tend to want to go chase every new idea there is because it sounds good, and you can't. You got to stay focused on, can we block? Can we tackle? Can we execute on a basic level? And then how can we slowly layer in things that are going to enhance what we're already doing?
Yeah, I think it's so easy to try and get fancy with building the next AI company or completely new solution. And oftentimes that's just missing the point of how important it is to continue to focus on doing the basics right. And if you can use AI to do the basics right, it'll grow. And if you forget doing the basics, oftentimes you won't grow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, thank you so much for joining and sharing this insight with us today. For anybody who does want to connect with you personally, where's the best place for them to reach you?
If you want to see AI in action, go to my website, quadrantsOS.com, and chat with my widget. She'll tell you anything you want to know about my company, or call my number and talk with my receptionist who's on 24/7 and can book an appointment for you. And you'll be able to see some of the AI effects that I can do right in action there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rob.
Yeah, it was great to meet you, Meir. Thanks for having me on.